Thank you, Mr. Speaker, members of the body. It was around 9 months ago that we all became aware that one of our public universities here in Kentucky was facing financial difficulties, some very serious financial challenges. Kentucky State University is not only the only public historical black college university in Kentucky, it's one of our two land-grant institutions. The General Assembly, we face a challenge of trying to address this situation. Back on February 17th, this body passed House Bill 250, sent it down to the Senate. They have made some changes and sent it back to us. Mr. Speaker, would you have the clerk report Senate Committee Substitute 1?
Mr. Clerk, please report.
Senate Committee Substitute 1 to House Bill 250.
Gentleman from Spencer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. When House Bill 250 left this chamber, there was one appropriation. As it comes back to us in the Senate Committee Substitute, there are actually three separate appropriations. When it left here, we had an appropriation of $23 million. Our appropriation was to Kentucky State University directly. In the committee sub, that appropriation will be made to the Council on Post-Secondary Education. Would have KSU submit a request with supporting documentation so that they could distribute those funds to them as needed. There's also an additional appropriation, as the gentleman from Todd referred to earlier in his discussion on the Free Conference Committee report. There's an additional appropriation of $15 million. This would be $5 million in fiscal year 22-23, $10 million in fiscal year 23-24. This would be distributed as determined by the Council as goals and benchmarks are met by the university. There's also an additional appropriation of $1.5 million in the first year of the biennium to CPE to help them and offset the costs of administering this oversight of KSU. There are several changes to the language of the bill regarding the oversight. In Section 1, starting on line 8, it refers to the General Assembly declares there is a state of financial exigency that exists at KSU from the effective date of this Act until June 30th, 23, directs the KSC Board of Regents to execute a new policy by May 15th, 2022 to deal with this. Line 17, Kentucky State University Board of Regents has the authority to terminate employment of any university employee, including tenured employees, upon 30 days' notice. In accordance with the university's personnel policies, there is language in this section that deals with those peer review performances. Also, Kentucky State University, CPE, has to approve any expenditure greater than $5,000, and this will stay in effect until CPE has declared, made a report to the governor and LRC if the university's finances are stable. One other important notation in the Senate Committee sub, Kentucky State University Board of Regents will cease its search to fill the university's presidency vacancy until April 15th, 2023. Upon the effective date of this act, the board shall conduct a search for an interim president who has experience in university governance with specific emphasis placed on turnaround experience to replace the current interim president who may serve until replaced. Within 1 year of the effective date of this act, the KSU Board of Regents, in consultation with CPE, shall conduct a thorough review of all university departments and academic programs to determine if any of them need to be eliminated or make changes to that program if they are found to be ineffective or inconsistent with the university's mission. If faculty and staff are let go as a result of this, they are not prohibited from applying from other positions in the university. Within 3 months of the effective date of this act, the KSU board, in consultation with the council, should develop a process to review all faculty and staff performance, including a post-tenure review for tenured faculty. This process shall be used as a basis for decisions on continued employment, promotion, salary increases, tenure, and maintenance of tenure. Within 1 year of the effective date of this act, KSU Board, in consultation with CPE, shall conduct a performance review of all faculty and staff. And any employee who fails to meet the criteria established by the board, including tenured faculty, shall be terminated in accordance with the university's personnel policies. In addition, all tenured faculty shall undergo an additional post-tenure review by June 30th, 2027. It states that any reasonable cost incurred by KSU and approved by the council resulting from implementing these personnel actions shall be reported by the council to the General Assembly for consideration in determining future budget appropriations. In addition, the council shall contract with an independent third party to make recommendations on the university's governance and operational structure and evaluate the university's performance throughout the period of the council's oversight. Mr. Speaker, I'd be glad to entertain any questions, but at this time I move the House does concur with Senate Committee Substitute 1.